If you've seen the thumbnail and clicked on this video, then what I'm about to share with you might come as a bit of a shock. On this channel, Gent Z, I talk about what it means to be a young gentleman, and a large part of that is cultivating an elegant image for yourself. But I did not always look this way, far from it. So I won't tease you anymore. In this video I'm going to tell you all about my transformation from goth to gentleman and 5 ways that it changed my life in a very profound way. So let's talk about my old style. In this photo I'm about 19 years old. This was from a photo shoot I did with my band at the time. We played a form of goth/black metal music. As you can see, I have very long black hair, which is of course dyed. Then I've got some eyeliner on and I'm a ghostly shade of white, which is part makeup and part Armenia. You might be wondering what on earth is on my hands. So this is a fake blood mix that I used to make in my smoothie maker at home. I thought it looked quite convincing, and it was certainly the kind of shock value that the band was going for. I barely owned any clothes that weren't black, so that, along with the hair and the makeup, it certainly created quite a striking image. Not to mention that I'm 6'2" and I weighed about 130 pounds at the time. So what is my current style? Well, as you can see, it's changed quite a lot. I like to dress in what I consider to be a classic men's style. This type of aesthetic has been described recently as old money, but some people might call it dandy, dapper, sartorial, or something like that. I don't dress in a suit and tie every day, but I certainly dress slightly more formal than most people do, generally wearing at least a polo shirt or a button-down shirt in my day-to-day outings. You could say it's a little bit conservative, but it's also more flamboyant and eye-catching than the way that most men dress these days. It certainly stands out from the crowd to an extent, but in a very different way from the goth style. And having this different visual appearance has definitely changed my experience of life. So let me tell you 5 different ways that changing my style has changed my life. Firstly, let's just talk about my day-to-day life. So when I was a goth, people used to stop and stare at me on the street. Whereas now, people smile and say hello, and I smile and say hello back. I think this experience has shown me how powerful the first impression is. It's impossible to have any data on this, but I would say that anecdotally I get treated better by waiters, Uber drivers, people in stores, etc. I feel like people are more friendly and more helpful to me now that I look more respectful and less likely in their eyes to be antisocial or to do something bad. When I had a more extreme image, I used to have to deal with people teasing me, shouting stuff on the street, a bit of bullying when I was in school. These are all things that I think people who identify with the goth subculture will be familiar with. But now I never have to worry about anything like that, and I will say that also just being older plays a part in that too. Secondly, my overall confidence has dramatically improved since I changed my image. I was never a shy or super introverted person, but because I know that my style and my appearance is likely to make a good first impression, that gives me more confidence to go and strike up a conversation or ask someone for help. I also think that the style of clothes I wear now gives you a layer of confidence that no other style of clothes can. The blazer is a very flattering garment for a man because it builds up your shoulders, and accessories like a pocket square or a watch add an extra flair to your style that catches people's attention. So I 100% feel more confident walking into a room full of strangers than I would have done before. Maybe this is all in my head, but I no longer feel like everybody's looking at me. Or if they are, then I feel like it's for a good reason. Third area of my life that has changed in a big way is my career. I don't believe I would have had the professional opportunities I've enjoyed if I still had the goth style. This is especially true because away from social media, I work in the media industry where image is especially important. In jobs I've held, I've needed to be on camera and represent the company, and I don't think they would have been comfortable putting me forward for that if I looked like a goth. It probably also would have inhibited me when it came to job interviews. Although it's a form of discrimination, you can't help it if a prospective employer looks at you and makes a judgment based off the unconscious signals that your appearance sends. Especially when you have long hair as a man, I do think there's a stereotype about being unkempt, lazy, not so hardworking, even though the stereotype is obviously completely untrue. On the other hand, now I enjoy classic style and I like dressing up. I think this has been very advantageous to my career. And that confidence I was talking about helps me be more proactive at work, helps me put myself out there and seek new opportunities. So a big area of my life that also changed when I altered my style was my dating life. Now, I was both on the dating market and in a relationship when I had the goth image. And I found that my dating options were severely limited to only people within that subculture. And even in a major city like London, that's really only a few hundred people that are regularly going to these types of bars and clubs. So, although it's not impossible to find a partner when you look more alternative, you certainly do limit your options. Now that I have a more traditionally masculine style and appearance, I would say it has increased my dating options exponentially. My current girlfriend certainly would not have been attracted to me if I looked the way I used to, and I can't blame her for that. In the same way that many men would not be attracted to that style of women, probably even more so, most women are not attracted to that style for men. And finally, just like dating, I believe that changing my image has drastically improved my social life. Your personal style can be an indicator that you're part of a tribe, and people from outside of that tribe are not always very accepting of people who look different. And I believe that goes both ways. A lot of people in a subculture like the goth scene are not so welcoming to outsiders from the mainstream, as they call it. So I think my appearance at the time limited my social circle to people with similar interests. And when I changed my style, I found that my social circle began to open up to everybody else. This especially applied to my college friends whom I was not that close with before, but then started hanging out with more, going to bars and clubs, etc. And again, thanks to this newfound confidence, I found it easier to put myself out there and make new friends. This proved very important when I moved to the US and I basically had to start my social life from scratch. So for example, I feel 100% confident looking the way I do now about walking into an upscale bar or a cigar bar, sitting down at the bar by myself and striking up a conversation with a stranger. I definitely wouldn't have felt comfortable doing that with my old appearance, and honestly, I don't think people in those kinds of establishments would have been so welcoming of me either. So I have zero regrets about changing my style. I wanted to share my experiences with you because it goes to show what a dramatic impact your appearance can have on other areas of your life. But I by no means encourage you to change your style. If for example you're a goth, you're a metalhead, something else entirely, and you like that. I changed my style because I wanted to, and if you don't want to, then you probably wouldn't be happy looking like me. And I don't necessarily think that the impact your image has on your life is a good reflection of our society, but I think that a lot of these things play into fundamentals about human nature, other people using visual data to make quick decisions. It's part of our evolution, and I think that if you're aware of this, then you can use style to your advantage. And personally now, I just love dressing up. I find style is one of my hobbies and one of my passions, so I'm super happy that I get the opportunity to share it with you on this YouTube channel. If you want to continue to follow on with my style transformation journey and other things that I talk about here, such as dating and etiquette, then please do consider joining the Gent Z community by subscribing to this channel and leaving a comment letting me know your thoughts. If you have any questions for me, please put them in the comments because I'm going to address them in a Q&A video over the next couple of weeks, which I'll be doing to celebrate recently passing 1,000 subscribers. So thank you to everybody who has subscribed to the channel so far. Thank you for those who have left a question already. I'll see you in the next video very soon.